Hi, I'm Congressman Bill Keating. We're all now having the chance to read the text of the impeachment deposition that I've taken part of in Washington. The shorthand of the investigation is that the president was withholding life-saving defensive arms in exchange for personally beneficial dirt on his political rival. Yet there's another side to this testimony which hasn't received enough attention. This is the story behind why Ukraine needs the military assets that were being conditioned by the president in exchange for damaging information on his opponent, while absolving Russia of responsibility for their attack on our 2016 elections. It's vital to understand the gravity of why the issues surrounding Ukraine are so important. Ukraine is one of the most vitally important countries to the United States, and it's vitally important to one of our most significant adversaries, Russia. Ukraine's one of the largest countries in Europe. Their independence in 1991 marked the collapse of the Soviet Union, and Ukraine's always been an ally to the West, cooperating with NATO countries as much as possible. Russia directed an attack on Ukraine in 2014 and occupied part of its territory. Ukraine's success as a free and sovereign country depends on its allies, most notably the United States, because through its independence, Ukraine is one of the U.S.'s closest allies in Eastern Europe. As anti-Putin protests continue to spread outside of Moscow, Vladimir Putin has built much of his domestic popularity on this territorial takeover. Putin's primary goal is to reestablish the former Soviet Union's influence as a world power. Ukraine is the linchpin for this. If he succeeds, his attempt at dominance in Europe, particularly in Georgia and the Balkans, will become easier. If he fails, consistent with Colonel Vindman's testimony, without Ukraine, Russia will be nothing more than a regional power. While I'm talking to you now, and for the last 5 years, Ukraine has been involved in a violent and active war with Russia, a war that has killed over 13,000 of its citizens, a war where lives were lost and dozens were injured in the time between Donald Trump's halting congressionally authorized military aid and when the aid was finally released. As Ambassador Taylor said in his testimony, Ukraine is a strategic partner of the United States, important for the security of our country as well as Europe. And he went on to say that if Ukraine succeeds in breaking free of Russian influence, it's possible for Europe to be whole, free, democratic, and at peace. In contrast, if Russia dominates Ukraine, Russia will again become an empire, pressing its people, threatening its neighbors, and the rest of the world. And that includes the United States. At the end of the day, Ukraine cannot be used as a political football. I'll close with what Ambassador Taylor said in his testimony. This story is about young people in a young nation, struggling to break free of its past, hopeful that their new government will finally usher in a new Ukraine, proud of its independence from Russia, eager to join Western institutions and enjoy a more secure and prosperous life. This story describes a nation developing an inclusive democratic nationalism, not unlike what we have in America in our best moments, and how we feel about our diverse country, less concerned about what language we speak, what religion, if any, we practice, or where our parents or grandparents came from.